Just the competitive burn kind of led me to really looking deeper into my approach to life. Certainly, once you get in college and you play basketball on a high level, you realize one day the basketball is going to stop dribbling, and then what are you gonna do after that?
So one of the things I have always loved about this man right here is his humbleness. So you got to let me roll here for a second, which I know in the past I've gotten thrown out of basketball practices and things for you letting me roll and giving me too much. We used to say C game back in the day. Remember that control game? Because my attitude would get a little out of whack.
Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes.
So Ed Johnson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When we met, which we're going back almost 25 years now.
Wow.
You think of the inspiration, which you got to let me go because I know you don't like when I do this. The supervisory aide at Ladue High School where you went to school.
Yes, sir.
You put yourself through school to then become a teacher. So then you were gym teacher for all of us and coach, unbelievable coach. You and Coach Basler, it's amazing how much you guys molded how we thought. And then you decide to keep your school going, to become an administrator to get your master's. And then if that wasn't enough, you go on to get your doctorate, to have the opportunity to sit in that seat that you are right now here at Brentwood High School, unbelievable high school here in St. Louis. And I think for so many people listening, we kind of hold back from doing what we were destined to do. And these shows, as I share with you, it's all about that burn, what causes you to fight, right? Bigger than that purpose, and we go really deep. And where I'd love for you to go if you'll do it, going to Jackson State, a dream, because you were such a great basketball player, to go play Division I basketball, but then your mother gets sick, and to choose to come home, to choose to take that responsibility, to walk away. Like, I've paid attention to every single detail. It's why I've honored you in my book with Coach Basler, right? Because the two of you meant so much, and how you've lived your life has meant so much to me. And I just think of those decisions to come back. I think about passion. I think about that underlying burn. And what I would love for you to just share with everybody is, where does that burn come from you? You know, you're supposed to be selfish, right? You're supposed to be this college kid who's selfish. You're supposed to just to put yourself through school, to get in that seat. Like, what's the burn? Like, what has caused you to do the things that you've done? What's that underlying purpose?
Boy, I tell you, that's a loaded question, and I'm really, as you're talking to me, I'm reflecting back on my life story, and I think initially I would say that it came through competition through sports. I mean, I think my burn initially was about me really wanting to be great at sports. I think that's where the initial burn came from. You know, young, growing up and kind of playing in some of the local leagues. Believe it or not, OAA is where I got my start, and that kind of transformed into kind of a traveling team opportunity, which from there led to some really good years at Ladue High School. And I think it was just the spirit of competition that made me always want to be better than just average. And then from that point, just the competitive burn kind of led me to really looking deeper into my approach to life. Certainly, once you get in college and you play basketball on a high level, you realize one day the basketball is going to stop dribbling, and then what are you gonna do after that? And so, prior to the supervisory aide position at Ladue, I believe it or not, I had a 4-year business degree or whatever. But at that time, I don't know if I took the degree that serious because I still at that time had dreams to play basketball. But then it was, believe it or not, it was the 3 years that I served as a continuing substitute teacher in the St. Louis public schools. There was not one school in the St. Louis public school that I hadn't been at as a continuing sub. And it was my work with the kids at that time. I mean, when you show up for an assignment, you don't really know what it's going to feel like or whatever, but you just try to figure it out. You try to walk in the room, you get a feel for the way that the classroom's behaving, the way that the personalities form a dynamic, and you try to make a quick impact on the kids and hope that, you know, when you leave, you know, hopefully you gave the kids something that they'll remember, because, you know, that's what it's all about in a one-day situation. You're not going to totally carry out curriculum for a teacher. You're going to try to make a positive impression on kids. And so then that's when I realized that, wow, my passion and my purpose could possibly be working with kids. In what capacity do I want to serve working with kids? And then I'm like, wait a minute now. I mean, that's when I brought sports back in. I'm like, man, I could be a coach. And this could be right in my wheelhouse. And I could be doing something that I actually have knowledge and expertise in, but then I could just enjoy just kind of working with kids and making it, of course, more than just basketball, making it an opportunity and an avenue to grow young men or whatever. And so that's the piece that I really enjoyed about it. So, you know, fast forward to getting a position at Ladue and having the opportunity to work with, oh my God, young men like you and the others, and you guys, I mean, Ben, you know all the fun I had. I mean, it was like we grew up together. I mean, yeah, of course I was the basketball coach.
I've aged, though. You haven't aged since the day I met you.
But I think what's so nice about these opportunities when we talk is like, are you kidding me? When I was working with you guys, I was probably in my early 30s. And so, you know, at your age now, can you imagine that I was that young working with you guys? I hope I was okay and that I served as a good mentor, but boy, did we have fun. But we took care of business too. And so much fun.
One thing I noticed one of my first visits here at Brentwood, and I remember this clearly, and you know, you've continued to have such an amazing role in my life, and I think of the conversations where we sit and chat and talk. Might be an occasional cigar that comes into play, you never know. It has a tendency to happen, but we get these deep conversations. But I remember times being thrown out of practice, but I also remember you learning my mentality. I remember times you'd put your arm around me, and it was the way you communicated with me.
Exactly.
And what I thought was so unique was when I came here for one of those first visits, I saw you do that with a student here in this very office that we're sitting in. And it was just this natural, it was like, oh my gosh, here we are all these years later, and you haven't changed. And I think so many times people try to change, and you've stayed connected to that burn, you've stayed connected to who you are, and I think that's so unique. So I think people are always wanting to change. So if you could speak to the importance of maybe remaining who you are as that burn keeps going, rather than trying to adapt to what sometimes people say, oh, society wants me to be this way.
So I think it's the constant reflection on how can I be the best father, how can I be the best husband, how can I be the best principal, how can I be the best person. That's always up front for me. How can I encourage people to hang in there and just stay hopeful, and how can I manage to get in those areas of people's heart where I can see them struggling and be able to see them kind of start getting these little successes that mean so much. That's kind of my burn, you know, serving people. That's my burn. And the biggest joy for me is serving people, and that's my burn. You know, just making people happy in this world, man, is what I love to do.
Well, what I'll share with you, and I've told you many times privately, but to make it very public, you've done that so incredibly well. And you say, you hope that I knew that you loved me back then. I knew it, and I still know it now. And I can say on the record, I was never that great at basketball, and you guys were always right.
But hopefully I made you feel like you were.
You made me feel like I was, but I was too hard on you guys. But I knew that you loved me, and I love you for the man that you are and how you've continued to go on this path and to stay connected to your burn. You are an amazing example for every single player that you ever coached, every single student. Just know that we've always felt that love. It's what makes you special. And I'm so glad you took the time to help us better understand how we can all be better and stay connected in that.